Hello and welcome back to another episode of With Love Mama, the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about how to speak to your partner about home birth, because I think this is a big thing that a lot of women do face when they are trying to, decide what birthing environment they want to opt for their birth. And it's very important that the birthing woman is the one who feels the most comfortable and the most safe, but it's equally important that your partner feels comfortable and safe too, so that they can be as supportive as possible and that they aren't in like a dysregulated state, because we want the whole birthing space to feel really calm and regulated. I know something for me in my journey was when we were opting for home birth, it was my partner that felt more skeptical than me at the start, and then after education and conversations that we had, he actually ended up feeling safer in the home birthing option. But I just think this conversation will just be really great to touch on. I've also had one of my friends message me and say, can you please talk to this, because she knows she wants a home birth, but also since just bringing it up to her partner, it's him that's skeptical, which, like I said, that is actually so completely normal and also like happens a lot of the time. So it's not that you're trying to convince your partner. It's actually that you're just trying to feel as supported as possible, and you want them to be on board. But like, yeah, it's not a convincing energy. It's very much like reframing it and coming to them with like why it feels really important to you. So it's very important that to begin with, it's acknowledging that when the word home birth is mentioned, you might be feeling, and it could honestly even be the other way. Like, it could be, even in some circumstances, the male is more like wanting male partner, whatever, is wanting the birthing partner to birth at home. Either way, it's just very much acknowledging that like one of you, most likely the birthing woman, is feeling a really deep pull into home birth. But when the other one hears the word home birth, they're actually hearing like risk, fear, all of the things. Also, because it is like not a super normalized thing, I feel like it's definitely getting there. It's actually really funny too, because women used to birth at home. Like, it was actually really weird to birth in a hospital once upon a time. But one's hearing fear, one's hearing trust, one's hearing this feels right, one's feeling this feels wrong. So it's not about convincing, it's not about like winning their approval or anything like that. It's actually about bringing like understanding to your partner and allowing them to feel safe, finding emotional safety for both of you, and also coming to like a shared decision, like making the decision from a shared space. So we're wanting it to be like a very connective experience. And the way that you can do this is by understanding like why they're actually skeptical, because there's so much out there. Think of like Hollywood movies, think of just what we're told, like really like growing up, all of the things around birth. It's like a lot of the time viewed as a medical event. It's a lot of the time viewed as something to be scared of something incredibly painful that like a woman would need an epidural for, or whatever that might be. So when we're breaking it down for them, it's actually just allowing them to see that like, yes, things can go like in any direction. It doesn't matter what environment you're in, but really like weighing up the pros and cons of each. And for me, I feel it's so important. Well, I actually, this is my personal opinion, but it's also like backed by science, in the sense of where a woman feels safest is actually the best place that she should be laboring. So if you feel super safe at home, then doesn't it just make sense to prepare your home for a home birth if that's what feels aligned for you? And I feel like it's really nice because you have more of that control. You know what your environment's like, you know where you're going to be birthing, all of the things. I'm so sorry, I keep on taking the deepest breaths because I'm just so pregnant and I feel like I'm getting so puffed. Okay, I did take a little break just to like try and get my breath back. Let's see how long it lasts. Anywho, so we want to just like understand where the skepticism's actually coming from your partner. It could be, that they like are fearing something's going wrong because they view birth as more of a medical event. It could be that there's just lack of exposure to like normal physiological birth. This is a huge one. We're all really lacking exposure to physiological birth. It's viewed as such like a woo-woo crazy thing, and like we don't see it often even as the birthing women. And so that in itself can just be like, creating a lot of scenarios in our head. A lot of people also have like trust in the hospital system, and that's just like conditioning, right? Like trusting that, like that, putting that trust outside of the birthing woman as well. If someone's like listening to this and that's how they like you feel or whatever, like that is actually okay. It's okay to feel these ways and have the skepticism. But that's why also when the birthing woman is feeling as though this is important, that we are just like seeing both sides, because this isn't about this or that. This isn't about like, I'm right, you're wrong, like you're in a fear state. Like, it's not about like blaming. It's not about anything like that. It's just about seeing that like two people have different belief systems because we're all wired differently, and bringing that conversation forward to the partner to see if we can find a mutual ground that feels safe for both, while also maintaining that point around it's really important for the birthing woman to feel extremely safe, because safety equals oxytocin release equals labor progressing equals lower risk in like birth intervention, all of the things. So also when you're having this conversation with your with your partner who is skeptical, we don't want to be like framing it in like using words like that the hospital is traumatic or that the hospital is bad, or that like throwing at them all these like statistics and like, you know, making it this like really like, again, convincing energy. We don't want to make it a convincing thing, because it just doesn't feel good for anyone, does it? If you're like, you have a belief and someone's just trying to convince you out of it, like it actually creates more resistance and probably you would pull away more. That's how I imagine I would feel if it was, say, my partner wanting to come at me around the home birthing thing. If I was like pretty set on the hospital and he was like, well, here's the statistics, here's this, blah, 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 and like trying to push it on me, I feel like I would have just keep going back and like backing away and like avoiding that. So also just taking that into account as well, that we don't want to be like, convincing. And it's also really important not to bring this up when you are like already in a heightened state, which, you know, maybe it's something that's like feeling like a really big trigger for you, because you're like, I really want to have this home birth and my partner isn't listening to me. And then they don't pack the dishes away properly. And then you're like, you know, instead of thinking about how the dishes aren't away, you like start coming at them with like I want to have a home birth and it's your fault. We just don't want to come up with it. We just don't want to speak to it in that sort of energy. Okay, after another little breathing break, I'm back. So the way we want to actually start this conversation, let's get into it. So instead of coming at them like, this is what's happening, or I know you don't feel aligned with this, but this is what I want to do, or, you know, bringing them statistics and sitting down with them and making them feel like they're in a meeting, we just like, we want to minimize all of that. We want it to feel like a really connective experience, like I said earlier. So, you know, coming at them with like more of the, can I share something that I've been feeling really drawn towards, and can you just listen? And just asking them to hold that space to listen. They don't have to comment on it. They don't have to tell you their opinion. It's just more about listening. And also like saying things like, I'm not asking you to understand why I'm feeling this way, but I just would like you to like sit here and just like be that listening person for me. We don't need to come to an agreement right now. I really want you to hear my opinion and why I feel this way. Because it doesn't have to be a decision made in the moment, right? It absolutely doesn't have to be as soon as you're pregnant, you go, okay, we're home birthing, and then it becomes this big thing. Like, you've got plenty of time ahead of you for both of you to like really look at what might be holding you back, what might be pulling you towards a certain birthing environment, all of the things. Another thing that's really, really important, I find, and I found my first time, obviously the second time, because we experienced home birth the first time, and it was just like so much easier not having to like leave the home. It was really nice to just like do it all in our own home, all of the things. We didn't have to have this conversation, like we just knew we'd have a home birth. But the first time very much was just like validating that, like, if your partner is like worried, like, oh, like if we're doing it at home, like, you know, all of the things, I feel like I've just absolutely completely lost where I was going with that. So I don't even know if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna like check. I'm so sorry if you're listening and you were like really keen on what I was about to say. I actually can't remember. Baby brain just actually came in full swing. But I did want to touch on like how when you are coming to this, it's really important to let your partner know, like, their support matters like so much. Their support is going to trump all other support that you can have in the birthing space. You have so much love for them, you have so much trust for them, and you would really love for them to feel safe as well. So it's really just like, you know, it's really just about making you both feel safe and really like seen as well in this process, in the decision making process of having a home birth. Another thing is when you are bringing this conversation to them. So we're thinking that first conversation when you are saying like, I'm sharing something I feel really drawn towards. And in that conversation, you can say like, you want them to feel really supported as well. They're going to be your main support, and also bringing in reassurance. So just like instead of sitting down with all the stats and everything, it's more just like, okay, we're going to have midwives here who are completely trained for home birth and they understand the safety, the cues, all of the things. There's going to be clear transfer protocols in place. They know exactly what warning signs to look out for if anything was to take a turn. We are completely safe. Continuous monitoring of the mum and the baby is available. They can do not the CTG, but like, the 15 minutes Doppler. They're looking at the actual mother birthing and her cues. They are so highly trained to see if anything's to go in a different direction, and they're not going to be leaving things to chance at a home birth. So, in the case of you might be presenting in a certain way, home birthing midwives are great in the sense of, okay, this is like what's going to be happening. Like, this is what we're seeing happen. We think that it's actually the safest option to call in for backup or go into the hospital or XYZ. They're so trained to know that. There's also all the medical equipment on standby. So like they have the oxygen, some medication in the fridge, all of the things. So it's not like when you're having a home birth, it's a free birth in the sense of there's just like nothing available medically. There's still that medical aspect to it if it's necessary. So realistically, it really still is that medical care that you can have in the hospital system, but in a different setting. So it's really just a different environment, and it's the environment that obviously makes you feel safer. You can then move more into, we could have conversations with our midwife about this, because a lot of private midwives as well who do the home birthing, they are more than happy to have it's a completely free like Medicare subsidized appointment where you can actually ask all these questions together with your partner if you don't already have a care provider. And if you do already have a care provider, asking your partner, do you want to have an appointment together where we just discuss our birthing environment, all of the things. We did that the first time as well, I think. Like my midwife explained everything to Jai of just like, this is what we're going to have there, like blah, blah, blah. And he ended up feeling like safer in the option of home birthing, like I've said. So yeah, things like that. It's like more like we can have these conversations with other people, opening them up. And, I'm sure if you're feeling like a home birth feels super aligned for you, I'm sure your partner wants you to feel the safest in your birthing environment as well. So, it's okay to still both have a little bit of fear and stuff. But I think just if you are approaching the conversation in this way, it can just be like really grounded and make you both feel seen in the process. So again, we don't want to bring in like that dynamic of like convincing, but you could bring it in more like approach this from like curiosity. So instead of like, expecting them to make a decision in a week, it's more like, did you want to learn more about home birthing with me? Like, should we watch a home birthing video together on YouTube? Go chat to the midwife, like I just said, or like, do you want to maybe like watch some hospital birth experiences, watch some home birth experiences, even like read some stories. Ina May Gaskin, I think that's her name. There's that book, Reclaiming Childbirth as a Rite of Passage. I think I'm getting that book completely wrong. Let me go grab it. Hold on. Yeah, no. I quoted one book with the wrong author, but I'm talking about Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. That's a really great book. It has lots of birthing experiences in that book, and there's like home birth, all the different ones. It could be good to even get your hands on a book like that and just, read a few of them with your partner. And I'm sure that they would be open when you're approaching it from a place of curiosity rather than convincing. It is important too to remember that like when we are opting for home birth as the birthing woman, it's usually because we feel like really safe. We want to feel powerful. We want to feel in control of our body. We don't want to have unnecessary intervention, all the things. But partners are usually only like against it because they actually want to like prevent anything going wrong and prevent losing you. And they want to be doing the right thing and they want to be able to like feel safe as well. So that's why I like coming at it from this like really grounded place of, a couple of just like, there's a few options I've listed where you can just really like jump into this conversation in a really grounded way. You can touch back in on it over a few weeks. It doesn't have to be this like, we're doing this and you need to be okay with it. It's very much like a joint decision-making process so that you both are feeling that safety, because we don't want to convince our partner. We just want to build like that connection and safety. And when both people are feeling heard in a decision-making process, and I'm sure you would know this being in a relationship, but when both people feel heard, decisions stop being polarized. It's more of a, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is how you're feeling. What actually, like, how can we meet in the middle? How can we both feel safe in this? And if you're slowly like almost drip feeding some of these statistics to your partner over the time as they are becoming more and more open to it and they're feeling more and more safe in that, maybe after you've had like an appointment with your midwife, all the things, if you're slowly sort of allowing this to just bloom like a flower, it turns into a really beautiful experience, and it doesn't have to be an argument at all. I think if you are noticing yourself getting reactive or your partner getting reactive, it's just time to come back to this and visit this conversation at a time where you're both in more of a receptive state. That's super important. But yeah, I really hope that this like supported you in maybe how to approach your partner around wanting to have home birth for the first time. I am very much so speaking to the first time mum in this experience. If it's your second, third, or whatever subsequent time going into birth and you have had, you know, potentially birth trauma in the hospital system, or maybe you just had a great experience in the hospital system but you want to experience home birth, whatever it might be, just know that there's probably more layers to this, and it could be great to still follow like these sort of steps where it's not a convincing, but just remembering that your partner has their own stories and they have their own belief system. And like I did say earlier in the episode, we are all wired completely differently. We all are brought up from childhood with different views on birth, on all of the things. So it's just super important to take that into consideration too. Because yeah, it is, yes, you're the birthing woman. Yes, you're birthing your child, and your safety and everything is so important, but it's really nice in a relationship to try and find that space where both parties are feeling extremely seen, heard, and valued. So I really hope this episode helped you in having that conversation around having a home birth, and wishing you best of luck, that it flows in the way that you want it to, because home birthing is absolutely the most beautiful experience in my opinion. But I'll be back in your ears next week, and have an incredible week ahead.